Trying to record with this. It is recording, it looks like. All right. So, I will collect that homework momentarily. Come back as old homework, so grab yours, pass on the rest. But let's talk about some questions you might have had to go over that you weren't sure about factoring. Yo.
Oh, I know.
Go ahead, Clay.
20?
Oh, 37.
37, what does it say?
25x squared. Actually, sorry, wrong problem. Number 43. Minus 16x squared plus 1 equals 16.
Minus 1 equals?
Plus 1 equals 0.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's going to factor. This is actually the difference is 2 squares, but it doesn't look like it right now. Right, but what I could also do is let's just flip-flop this. Let's make it this. Oops. Let's go here. So I did not change anything about the problem other than flipping it over. Agree? Mm-hmm. So then, some of you might have seen how to factor it with the negative 4x, but some of you might not. So this is going to become 1 plus 4x and 1 minus 4x. That's the difference of 2 squares. So I can solve each, so I'm going to get positive 1/4 and negative 1/4 for answers. Now I get that is by setting each of those equal to 0, right? What else? Yeah.
19.
19. What does 19 say, please?
3x cubed plus 8x squared minus 16x.
I got to 8x squared and what?
Minus 16x.
Minus 16x equals 0. So it was 3x, 3, 8, and 6.
It doesn't equal 0.
It does not equal 0. So we're not solving it. All we're going to do is we're going to try and factor it. Okay. Do I have numerically a number I can factor out of all 3 terms? No. Now you got the one kid going, what about 1? Yeah, 1 will factor out every time. I will actually dim the lights because I'm just looking at what's on the screen on the computer. All right. But I can factor an x out. Right? Agree?
Yep.
Okay. So I think this might factor down to a couple binomials. This x is the little brother or sister that you got to tag along with them all with you. All right. I know just by looking at this, I know I'm going to have 3x and an x, but I can't always just do it in my head, so I'm going to have to do our magic method. So that gives me negative 48. Agree? In order to get a negative number, I need to have alternating signs. And 12 and 4 definitely will work. Which one has to be positive? 12. Okay, so then I'm going to do 3x squared plus 12x minus 4x minus 16. Here I'm going to factor out a 3x, and that's going to leave me kind of premature to put that. So if I factor out a 3x, that's going to leave me a x plus 4. Then I factor out a negative 4. That's an x plus 4. So I have 3x minus 4 here and x plus 4 here. Oops, that's a big plus sign. And then remember this, I had that down there. This x comes along. X plus 4. There we go. And that's factored. That's a tougher one. So if that was set equal to 0, you would have 3 solutions to it. If it was set equal to 0, this is what the graph would somewhat look like. Okay. Does anyone know kind of, before I go on, what kind of equation that is? What kind of graph is that?
This squiggly line one.
Yep, that's it.
Called a third degree polynomial. It's third degree because my highest exponent is third. You want to see where that actually is used in real life? And I was actually able to use this in real life. And you think I'm silly because I'm saying this. So third degree. x to the third. Means you're in 3D. Is that okay? So if it's in 3D, you can do this with it. Let's take a 4x8 sheet of plywood. Still with me in this adventure?
Yeah.
So 8 foot by 4 foot. Let's say that we are going to create ourselves a box that does not have a lid. Still with me on this adventure?
Yes.
Okay, so a box without a lid. So I have to cut out a certain amount in the corners. So let's say, and it's going to be the same size that I'm going to cut out in each corner. And I don't know how big that cut's going to be, but that's an x by x, that's an x by x, that's an x by x, that's an x by x. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
So now I'm going to go put a little dot here, a little dot here, a little dot here, a little dot here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out those corners, we're going to fold up the sides, and then we'll glue the edges together. So we'll eventually create ourselves some sort of 3D box. Still with me?
Yes.
So this stuff here becomes waste, right? So let's do the dimensions of this. This distance right here is going to be 8 minus 2x. How did I get that?
Because there are two x's and then
Yeah.
there's 8.
And you're subtracting from each side. So if that's 8 minus 2x, how long is this?
4 minus
4 minus 2x.
Okay? So that means that my box will look like this. Let's see if I can draw something that resembles it. So I have this side being 8 minus 2x. I have this side being 4 minus 2x. And then I have a height. Let's see, I'm not an art major. So that's our box. How tall is our height of this box?
4 minus 2x.
4 minus 2x was the depth. 8 minus 2x was this. How much was the height once I folded those flaps in?
6. What?
2x.
X.
Oh.
Okay?
No, it's just X.
So if I go 8 minus 2x times 4 minus 2x, if I were to multiply that all together, I eventually wind up in there having an x to the third term. Certainly there's something in here, something in here. But what happens when you graph this is this. Oops, I went backwards. Okay, remember we did something that was unbounded?
Uh-huh.
So this region's unbounded. Why is that? Well, there's no top to it. This region is our bounded region. So the distance from here to here is our cut of x. This point here, so the vertex or the highest point there, which is called a relative max, if you made that x cut for your corners, your volume of your box is maximized there. So this is how big our x cut is. So how big I cut this out. And the y value is the volume of the max volume that you're going to get out of that box. So think about that just as far when you're thinking about that. This does apply to a real life application. What companies might use this type of math? It's a big one. They were going to build a plant here. They decided not to.
Amazon?
Why would Amazon use this?
Because it goes.
Delivering stuff.
Huh?
What?
Like delivering.
Oh, it's like this.
Why would Amazon use this? What does all our stuff come to us in Amazon as?
Boxes.
Box. So they don't do all this box company say, hey, box company, I need a 2x3 and I need a 6x7 and I need an 8x12. No, they're going to sit there and say, okay, I have this item needs to go in here, and they're going to have a big piece of cardboard, and that piece of cardboard is literally going to be made into a box, and they're going to figure out how to make that the most appropriate. What is the corners being cut away? It's waste. What can Amazon use with that waste? Make smaller boxes. So, real life math application, I just want to throw that at you. All right, let's go back to the quadratics. We'll come back to fun real life math later. Who, where, right?
20.
20.
12x squared minus 75.
Minus 75?
Yep.
Just like that?
Yep.
Done?
Yep.
Not equal to anything?
No.
Oh,
Is this the one you forgot to do?
I forgot to do this one. What number gets factored out of 12 and 75?
3.
3?
3.
12 doesn't go into 75, but 3 does.
Sorry.
3, and I get, what is that, 4x squared?
25.
Now, this is where some of you would stop and you'd be like, sweet, I got it right.
Perfect.
And then you'd realize that your neighbor keeps going.
I get it.
And you're like, what the heck are they doing? And then you talk to them after class and your neighbor's like, yeah, did you realize that was the difference of 2 squares? And you're like, oh. And that's when you come running back in saying, hey, Mr. Sturp, I forgot to do this one problem. Right?
Yep. That's how it goes.
And then I'm like, oh, shoot, that does happen. What just happened in the hallway? Well, you colluded to cheat, but you got away with it. If I let you make it up.
But 45.
45, what does it say?
Mr. Stroke?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, I didn't get a number out. I just did 6x minus 15 and then 2x plus 5. Is that still
6x minus 15 and 2x what?
You can take a
2x
3
plus
out.
5.
Hang on, what?
Add
I know, but what if you didn't?
What was the last one? Plus 5?
Plus 5.
If I FOIL this back together, or I just double distribute it back together, I agree with you. You get 6x times 6x is indeed that 12x squared. I love it. And then 15 times 5 is indeed negative 75. But then my middle term, I get 30x.
That's 0.
Yeah. That's right.
So that's right.
Still works.
Whoa. Oh, I see what you did. Because look, I could factor that 3 out here. So this does indeed work, but you still have a GCF here, so you're going to miss 1 point.
Okay.
Cool? Who said what?
40.
40?
45.
45.
And 41.
45, what does it say?
36x squared equals 49.
Equals what?
49. That's 2.
Equals 49?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring 49 back over.
49.
We're solving this. What is 36x squared minus 49? What kind of problem?
Perfect square.
So it's the difference 2 squares? Yay, so I get 6x plus 7 is 6x minus 7.
Oh.
And that's equal to 0. So if I solve for x, I'm going to get 2 answers. I'm going to get negative 7 over 6 and positive 7 over 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8.
8.
Or 9.
You said 8?
Yeah.
8. Go ahead.
X plus 2 in parentheses squared plus 3 times x plus 2 minus 54.
Minus
54.
54. Okay. So this is that early version I talked about yesterday. This is like an early intro to calculus where we're kind of suckering you in to do the calculus. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this just to a y. I'm going to change this to a y. So we're saying, hey, we're going to allow y to equal x plus 2. Is that okay?
Yes.
So what we're doing is with the knowledge of what we know how to do, we're going to do that. But then we substitute this in. Then I get this. And then I need to look at this and say, can I factor this? And I certainly can. It's plus minus. Let's see. Factors of 54 makes it negative. One's positive, one's negative. That add to positive 3.
96.
96. So positive 9, negative 6.
Yep.
Is that right? All right. What did we say that y was equal to in the very beginning?
X
plus
plus
2.
2.
X plus 2. So wherever I have a y, I'm going to plug x plus 2 in. Combine my like terms. I do have these as like terms. I have x plus 11 and x minus 4. There it is. So again, this is the little calculus secret that we're sneaking in at you, and you'll have that 2 years from now.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, question before we move on. Does every degree out there require you to take calculus?
No.
Most of them.
No.
Really? Wrong.
Every degree for a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts requires college algebra, which we're above that now.
Are you serious?
Serious?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Wait, so I can just like stop math right now?
You're done.
My
Yeah.
actually-
You know what they will do? What most universities will do is you get there on your freshman orientation, and then they say, "Hey, we're gonna have you take a placement test. Don't worry, it's easy." Well, go in there and knock it out of the park, because all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, look, you tested into Calc 19." You're like, "Sweet. What does my degree need?" College algebra. So I'm done. Yep.
Jelly.
Bye-bye.
So that's the beautiful thing of it. So those placement tests they'll make you take, don't be like, I'm just gonna wing it. Go in and knock it out of the park. Yo!
So if this is better than college algebra, then what do they do in college?
Algebra.
This kind of stuff.
Just algebra.
So algebra is this big wide spectrum.
Algebra for college.
So you have algebra 1 here, algebra 2 here, and then there's other things in algebra that aren't. Algebra 2, as far as the algebras go, in my opinion, algebra 2, this class that you're in right now, is the hardest math class that you'll take because of the different changing of gears of content that we go to. That's why it's so tough. When you get to college algebra, it's like, okay, quadratic formula, did anyone remember it? And you got like, one kid in the class is going, and then someone's like, oh yeah, pop goes the weasel. And you're like, no, it's the quadratic formula song.
Yep, that's how it'll go down.
Trust me, I've taught that class before. There are 500 people in a lecture hall. Everyone wanted to take mine when I was a TA at Arizona State. Why did they take mine? Because I was the only one that had a last name that you could pronounce. Stir up. That's a little secret. If you go to a major university, you will walk into classes. Unfortunately, you have a last name that has like 45 syllables in it and 1 vowel. You're like, I shouldn't take that class. And you're right. Because you have TAs that are teaching it. Like my wife's class at CU Denver, the engineering for chemistry for engineers, her sections are always packed. The guy who was from China who was teaching it, who didn't speak a lick of English, he'd have like 10 kids. My wife's got 70 kids in each section with a waiting list of like 30 kids. And they're just waiting. Come on, someone's going to drop. They're enrolled in both classes. And then all of a sudden it's like one kid drops and I'm in. So, I just telling you, sometimes in college. Now, is that at every college USA? No. The further you get, I think y'all are set from coming from here, going to a big university because you're getting a good college setting. But if you can steer clear of the 100 level classes, those are the freshman level classes, because you go above it, you're going to come out on top. Hey, what else do we have for question? Yeah.
24.
2-4. What do you got on 24?
6x squared minus 9x plus 5.
Is it equal to 0 or is it just like that?
Just like that.
Okay, we are going to fact. No, you can't leave. Another Dean emergency.
Yeah.
Well, we're teaching this stuff tomorrow too, so you'll catch on.
This class just won.
Yeah, thanks.
Do I have a guy?
You're like, oh, this is my day. In 6th grade, no, because in 6th grade, I got called into her office a lot.
Mr. Sir, if you called me out in front of her,
Was she your dean?
She was last
Oh yeah, she was the gym teacher.
Now
Yes,
it's,
I remember.
Yeah, how did that happen?
She was my gym teacher in 6th
Oh,
grade, and she
I
threw
don't
a
bring Craig in here.
I'm very confused.
I didn't call you
Can
out.
we go on?
She wasn't sitting there the whole time writing a report on you.
I know.
Excuse me,
But
she totally was.
Cooper.
Alright.
Alright.
Cooper, we did the whole thing on my
I was in you know, like,
Huh?
I was in your office like one time.
Alright.
And it's only from
So, my magical number on this is positive 30, but in order to get to a positive by multiplying, it's either positive or negative negative. What is this one going to be and why? Negative negative, why?
Negative.
Is that right there? Okay?
Yeah.
Alright, factors of 30. 1 to 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10,
6 and 5.
That's it.
6,
And we're at that.
5. Anything else?
No.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Will any of those add up to?
No.
Prime.
That's a primaroo.
You gotta be kidding me.
Slather some barbecue sauce on there. You got some prime.
We got the barbecue sauce.
Stop
What?
talking.
Yo, lather
Please.
Oh.
Alright.
Really does trigger.
What else? What else?
Why? Just
You
why?
have to.
Anything else?
We did 35. No.
41.
35 and then 41. You got it. What's 35 say?
9x squared plus 9x equals 10.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move the 10 over by subtracting it. No greatest common factor there, so I have this magic number of negative 90. So one's positive, one's negative, and then, oh shoot. Just because Miss Thomas is gone doesn't mean you're off task.
I know, I'm
Well-
sorry. Grant just turned around.
Don't quit blaming other people. 4 and 15. 5 and 18. 6 and 15. There it is.
6 and 15.
6 and 15 will work. Which one's positive? 15. Okay. Does everyone get how I'm doing this way?
Yeah. Semi.
Okay. So I have in common here, I have a 3 and an x. So that gives me 3x plus 5. That negative comes down here, so I have 2 here. And then I'll factor the 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 2. Done.
Mr. Sarah,
Yeah.
so my friend, she has a class after this period, and the teacher taught her a way where it's faster than grouping method. Are we gonna take that?
No. So what I'm trying to get you to aim towards is the grouping method works because on these, if I can't see it, factor right away. But I want you to start getting to the pattern. There really isn't a faster way on this. Yes, there is the diamond or the box method. I'm not that guy.
He's
So,
that guy.
sorry. What I'm really going to try and aim towards is try and get you all to start recognizing patterns. But the grouping method does work fast. I think if you had it on an AP exam, if you had to do the grouping method on 1 or 2 problems, that doesn't mean you're not going to pass it. Okay? What else? Oh, there was 41.
I was questioning. It's really off topic.
Yes.
But like, isn't Elvis almost like thank you very much, like that thing? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. 41 says what?
He died on a
2x squared minus
toilet.
35.
Wait,
Say it one more time.
Yeah. You know that? Elvis died
I
on
was
a
making
toilet.
sure because Riley just said it, so I was like, no.
I don't care. He died on
Minus
a toilet.
32.
My dad made a joke about that one.
That equals 0.
Equals 0. All right. All right, on this one.
2x.
2x comes out good, and that gives me x squared minus 16.
That is a square.
So you get x equals 0, x equals 4, x equals negative 4. Done.
I know, we're always on that.
Why can I jump to there so quickly? Because I'm solving it. And then x plus 4 and x minus 4 are your factors of x squared minus 16. Are we good? All right, make sure your names are on that. Go ahead and pass it forward. Is our homework packet anywhere, or is it all the way around?
Oh, okay.
Did the stapler come?
It's walking around.
Hey, who's got a stapler?
It's so weird, bro.
What is?
Where's the stapler? There it is. Alright. Pass that one down.
Stapler this way after you're done with it?
Did you get 43?
5. Papers for you and then papers for you.
Saying what?
4. 5.
So Mr. Stewart,
You learned this last year.
Cool. You doing well with it?
So you guys like
You're going through your guessing, right? Same idea. Nope, not at all. So most of you will know how to do some sort of factoring in here. We all came from a little bit different motivation. So I'd say do whatever motivation you have. She gets the answers.
Can you staple it?
It's so
Sitting on someone's desk.
What are you doing?
Being in
Mr. Sterling, are you a Wildcats fan?
No, you don't have to speak slow to
I
me.
know. She was
I only got two. Did everyone pass?
Juliet was a
Oh, this isn't Staples.
Alright. Don't worry about stapling, Jack.
He's not a Wildcat.
Anyone else, don't worry about stapling it.
You
Don't
what?
worry about stapling it. Is it? Okay, cool. Alright, do I got all? There it is. So Cooper, I'm a Sun Devil. So
I know.
I grew up about 2.5 miles from campus.
U of A is, I think it's a better school than ASU.
Oh gosh, no.
Yes.
I can't slow down this lecture slow enough for me to teach to you.
Really? Then why would you start with something?
There's no learning
I
in
think
this
U of A is
part of it.
bear
Isn't this
down.
review?
You can't not like.
Isn't H
U of A is
review?
better than
Yeah,
ASU.
they're
at
simply
everything.
they're both reviews.
Football,
Why do we?
U of A is better. Basketball, U of A is always better.
Why are we doing this?
What did
Sometimes
happen,
ASU wins in
Hannah?
football. I give them that.
God,
But we have
Hannah.
the quarterback who's a beast.
Gotcha.
Like you went there.
Alright.
Olivia, you're too intense.
UT. Hook 'em boys. That's my main school.
I was gonna say, if you're a U of A fan, you just have to know that there's a lot of jobs out there that do with a diploma from U of A.
Only
You could probably help, dig a canal with a shovel.
I know.
They probably just give you a spoon though.
I know that education is really easy to get into and not a good school, but
I mean, if you could spell your name, you get a degree from U of A. That's
I know. Well, my stuff I went there for sports, not for actual school.
all right. Let's run through this. We're still reviewing some factoring, so let's move along.
I wish it was.
Okay, the common factor is that's a big thing. Difference of two squares and then perfect square trinomials. Those are just kind of some of the things that you should see as far as the patterns that will make you a little bit quicker. And again, I was showing the group factoring by grouping method. Why don't I go through like these 6 different methods for you? Well, somewhere along in Algebra 1, you've learned some way to factor. If you didn't, I will happy to teach you the grouping method, but that's the method I use. Okay, so first problem, as you sit there and you look at these problems and you want to try and work them out, you can start doing some of these in your head. You can start looking, saying, you know what? I might have a +3 here and a -2 here, and that might be factored quickly, and then you go back and take a look at it and see if I did it right. So I have 3x minus 4x, so my signs are backwards. Does that work now?
Yep.
That should be a minus sign. Double check, do the double FOIL, see if double distribute. Really, you'll know it works if you just look at the middle. So you have -3x, and then the outside you have 4x. Do they add together quickly?
Yep.
Cool. So that one's easy because 2 has only 2 and 1 as factors. The second one's not as easy. I mean, you do have to make sure you move this over. But things on this one that might be sticking out that I might feel pretty good about is I have a perfect square in the beginning and I have a perfect square at the end. Do you agree with that? Now, this is not the difference of 2 squares, but this does start to appear to be a perfect square trinomial. Actually, I didn't finish this one. I should have solved this saying that x is equal to 3/2 and -3/2. And then on this one, because I see this, my first go-to is to say, hey, is this
It's 3/2 and -2.
3/2 and -2, right? Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that one I'm looking at, and I think that's the answer.
That is.
So if you do the outside, the inside, you get 12x with 12x, which is 24x. And then this is going to solve and give me only one answer. So if I were to graph this, the parabola itself would have come down and kissed the x-axis at -4/3. Okay? How did I recognize the pattern that that was a perfect squared trinomial? Just because I had the front end and back end were both perfect squares, I was hoping it would work. Does it have to be that way? No. All right, and then this one, just by looking at it, you have to move this over. And it looks like they have it all factored, don't they? Wait, what is this from? I don't know what this is. What is this? Oh, those are just other problems. Okay. That might be a perfect square, but that's not. Any other way to look at it? This might be the one I would use my grouping on. Let's see, minus 8x plus 3x minus 6, 4x, and then x minus 2 plus 3, x minus 2. And then my answers are going to be 2 and -3/4. Cool?
Yep.
Then letter A, moving down. Letter A, moving down. What can I factor out of both? X plus 2. And then here's the rest of it, 3x minus 4. And then on this particular one, this is the one where we'd substitute saying, you know what, I'm going to make that y squared plus 4y plus 3. Then I'd factor that, so I get y plus 3, y plus 1. And then from there, you're going to put the x plus 3's back in. Plus 1. That's a plus 1. All right. So that gives me x plus 6 and x plus 4. So what did I do on that one? Again, that's the one we're trying to fake you out to do calculus. You're substituting out your x plus 3. And then you're getting your answer from there. Everyone okay?
Yep.
And then letter C. C is going to be done the exact same way. I would make this y squared minus 6y minus 16. Work it out to give you y minus 8, y plus 2. And then plug where you had y, plug x minus 2 back into each one. Life good?
Yeah. Wait, Mr. Sheriff, I have a question on the next one.
Yeah.
Why is it y and not x?
Oh, you can make it any variable. I was just trying to show that you're saying that I'm not going to try and factor this, having this whole thing as part of it. Okay? Feel okay? I'm going to just take a look at this last slide. I think I could work it out, but I don't think it's going to make you move any further along on this stuff. Works out. This one, just make sure you factor a 12 out for, no, not even a 12. It's only a 2. This one's going to be the difference of 2 squares. This one you'll factor out a -3x first.
Could you get out of 4? Oh, wait, never mind.
Did I get out of what? 4?
Never mind, I'm joking.
And then you'd set 3x equal to 0, so you have 0 for one of your answers, and then factor out the rest. All right. And then same idea for that. Life okay? Good. It gives me some time to talk to you. I want to talk to you real quick. Let's see. Hang on. You guys and girls turned in 5G last night. So 5G. I think you all survived it okay. G, so I would like you for this evening to do 5H. It's just a front and a back.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, let me talk to y'all real quick. Then we'll go to the bathroom. Everyone's here? That was supposed to be here. So, not sure if you heard, but Arapahoe High School is closed today. They had their second suicide this week. Now, this hits home for me because I live next to Arapahoe. This hits home because I have a daughter who's a junior there, and I have a daughter who's a freshman there. I have two daughters who are both hurting because, suicide is, as an adult, I look at it as a tough thing. I can tell you I've known plenty of people in my life who have been in their 40s who decided, oh, life sucks, I'm going to take myself. It sucks. I can't stand it. I hate it. And I don't have any way to say, hey, what's better? What would be better for kids? And the only thing I know is better for kids is I do something and a lot of people don't do it. I don't know if you've ever seen me come walking down the hallway, but I make eye contact with everybody because your eyes just say everything about you. And I can tell if a kid is pissed off, angry, sad, happy, concerned. I could see it just because of the eyes. But I do that. But there's been times I've even stopped a kid in the hall going, hey man, you doing okay? Or I've seen that kid where you could see a little distress in their eyes. It's like, dude, are you wearing Vans today? Yeah. These are the best shoes ever. I'm like, oh, thanks, man. What does that do for that kid? Maybe nothing. But it might have changed outlook on something, like someone cared about me. The best gift that you all can give to each other is take care of one another. And the hard thing is suicide doesn't solve a damn thing. When I was 16 years old, my good friend Pete Garcia accidentally shot and killed himself. And he did it in front of some of my friends. And some of my friends who are still alive today, we miss him dearly. Okay, that wasn't a suicide. That was somebody screwing around with a gun. Somebody chambered a bullet. Pete put it back to his head and squeezed one off and actually blew his eyeballs out of the front of his head. That was horrific. I miss Pete every day. And that happened when I was 16. I'm 47 now. So, what would I do just to have a few minutes back, just to hang out with Pete? Name it. But other friends of mine, when I was in high school, there was you heard of at some school a suicide. You heard of. And we've been fortunate here at Creek because we haven't had a successful suicide attempt, and that's a horrific thing to say, but in my opinion, a successful suicide attempt is someone catching somebody saying, dude, what the hell are you doing? Let's get help. What good is life? What's good of life if you know that your friend is hurting and you didn't tell an adult? I promise you this. If you went and told somebody because your friend's hurting and your friend is pissed off at you for the rest of your life or their life, good. They're alive to be pissed off at you. I don't want any of you to ever think, God, I just said something. Because that guilt, even though it shouldn't be guilt, follows you. Okay? I had a good friend, Steve Zabinski, when we were 42. He decided to take a bottle of Jack Daniels into the garage and turn the car on. He's gone. A guy named Gentry Needham, 2 years ago, I knew for the longest time. He made every wrong choice in life. Was in and out of jail forever. He decided he's going to hang himself. One of my closest friends, Ronnie Callahan, who was married with triplet sons. His foot got crushed by a crane outrigger, so he wasn't able to work, and he was addicted to opioids, and decided, wow, if I just take a larger fistful of these, I don't wake up. get triplet sons in high school. Okay, does it affect me? Every day. You know what sucks is, wow, could I have done something to make a difference? I don't know. The hard thing is, don't go through life thinking, you know, talk to those who are around you that are close. Reach out to those who you might have lost contact with. And damn it, just tell people you care about them. Tell them you love them. Okay? You know what? We're all strange. We're all on this weird, strange roller coaster of life. Arapahoe High School is not far from here. Some of you might have known one of the two people that, or both people, that took their lives this week. What does it feel like as a teacher? I had a girl named Kim Hopkins when I was at Chaparral. She hung herself in the gulch right behind Chaparral High School. Her desk, she sat right in the center of my classroom. Her desk was empty in every period. Everyone knew that's Kim's desk. That sucks. Saw Kim the day or 2 days before that happened. She seemed like she was happy, content. Gosh, I should have said one more thing to her. Shut up. But take care of one another. Get out of here. Go have a great day. You're out of here. You're getting out early because guess what? You better tell someone you care about them. Yep. Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Sora.
You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Sir.
You got it, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
See you guys. Yeah,
I knew Lily.
I knew Wales.
No?
Wales.
I knew Lily.
Good on Saturday.
Have a good day. You too, buddy.
Thank you. His younger brother played hockey with his brother.
Oh, really?